So in our last session, we talked about how to share the gospel with local groups, and we talked about having love, and when you're joining a group, you're there to help and serve others. Well, that same attitude and the same spirit applies to global groups. Now, the difference between local and global groups is the global ones. They're affecting millions of people, and they're really big, and you're going to be interacting with people from all over the world to share the gospel of Jesus Christ. Very exciting. I've done it for a while, and you're teaching people from Africa and places where there are no churches because they won't allow the Christian faith there, but people are asking for it to learn more. So we're going to teach you what are these groups and how do you join them. There's over 311 of them. And just like your local group, these are groups around different topics that lead people, where people want to follow Christ. And then we're going to talk to you and share with you how to do that, what's the best time, who are you talking to, getting to know your audience a little bit better. So you'll be able to have a good understanding of how to participate in these groups and who are you targeting and when should you post. So to get started, there are about 311 groups across 41 categories that have over 5,000 members on Facebook, and that number is a lot more and growing every day. And if you look across multiple social networks, it grows even more. We counted over 18 million people that participating in these groups. So there are a lot of people wanting to follow Christ in these groups. So it's huge, and we don't have enough digital missionaries out there to help these people out. So anybody that wants to participate is we and you, I'm sure the Heavenly Father accepts you gratefully for doing this. Tons of people. We found 41 categories where you can go online and participate in these groups. So we found 8 focused on prayer, and there's new ones being added every day. And those 8 that focus on prayer, there's over 4 million members. There's groups that are Christ focused. And in these groups, we didn't include congregational groups because there are a lot of those. These are just general groups focused on Christ. Job seeking groups, people looking for jobs that are open for you to pray for them, open for you to help them, give inspirational messages. There's obesity and weight groups. There's Bible study groups. Anxiety, depression, diabetes, divorce, trouble with kids, bipolar, deafness, drug addiction, alcohol addiction, cancer, foster care, allergies, child abuse, trafficking, new parents, tobacco addiction. There are a lot of groups. And what we did is when we looked across all these groups, we spent a considerable amount of time, we figured out what groups fit what persona. So if you look at, the one persona learning more about Christ and she wants to take her learning to the next level, there's a Bible study group for her. There's a Christ focus group. There's a prayer group. If you look at the person that has support issues and they're looking for similar people that can support her, there's tons of those where she can meet those people online. And then what you do in those groups is you introduce a religious angle into that and the following Christ angle, which is your predominant message. And then there are groups around loneliness, there are groups around addiction recovery, there are groups around changing the world and helping it become a better place. And there are groups around, uncertainty and dealing with doctrinal issues, which are, the faith-based groups. The groups focused on prayer, Christ, and the Bible represent 51% of the market share. So they are by far the greatest amounts. People really want to turn to Christ. And then, so that gives you a great group to focus on with a lot of people. So pick your persona and what you're writing about. And then as you do that, you can focus where should you add your message to and what group do you want to focus on it. And what I suggest, when you look at, I call it the second tier groups where maybe it's bipolar, allergies, or foster care or stress. If you have a family member, or if you dealt with this, these feelings before or these issues before, and you enter those, it's a lot easier than if you haven't and all you're doing is entering them to share the gospel. It's like autism. If you've had autism, or if you have family members that have autism and you're trying to deal with it, and you're entering those groups and participating, and you can relate to them, you're going to be more powerful than if you can't. And if you can't, stick to the prayer groups, the Christ focus groups. Those will make it a lot easier where you can relate to those people. So lots of categories. Within the Christian groups, I listed a few. There's several that have, 20,000 members, 100,000 members, 1 million members. So you'll see, you could pick. Do your research. What you shouldn't do is pick all of them and try to post one post across all of them, because many people are in all these groups and you don't want to be a spammer. So I'd suggest, at most picking 6 groups across that you want to be really heavily involved in. Maybe start with one and growing that and becoming really influential in those groups. It's very similar to your neighborhood groups. If you posted on say your local neighborhood, and then you have your county, and then you have your city. If you're posting the same posts, all of them, people are most likely a part of all of them, and they're going to see your post 6 times, and that just doesn't act genuinely. So try to create different content for each one of the groups you're participating in. And whoever is in it multiple times, they're going to see different content, and they're going to love it, and they're going to see your leadership across multiple groups. That group highlighted is our Follow Jesus Christ group we started to help people come closer to Christ. And when we started it in January, we quickly grew to 21,000 members, and now we're over 350,000 members. So we've cracked the top 10. So we're in the top 10, and you can see how fast you grow. And we're going to focus on the Follow Jesus Christ and kind of show our membership here, so you can see what a global Christian group looks like. So you could see our group started in January, but in a period of a year, we grew 350,000 members. So the growth of Christian communities is very high. And if you can keep your quality of content there, Facebook really, as people want to join it, and you'll be able to grow your group really fast as you keep your quality well, and as you interact with other groups and invite people to follow. There's a slight little dip there. What we did is we had a terrorist attack us. So Facebook had terrorists attack them a specific day, and they just shut down all major groups that had big groups, and we were targeted by terrorists. And what the terrorists did is they started posting lots of content, and they started to click the button that this was spam many times, and that was so much that people had to close the group. And we had a connection to the highest product person of Facebook, and we talked to them, and they opened us up, and then they opened other groups up as well. But there was a real physical attack of terrorists coming in. And the other thing we noticed is, it's funny, when you're trying to do, which is real, when you're trying to do good in the world, I would say 90%, 90% of the content that we receive in our group is spam, and we really stop accepting all posts quickly, because they're just spam that people post in these groups. So you have to be really careful. And we now just pre-approve posts, and a lot of people took our lead in the Christian groups once we started doing that. So you'll see how rapid growth. Where's that growth coming from? All over the world, Africa, the US, the Philippines. What we've seen is, cool thing about Facebook is that if you're from anywhere around the world and you're looking at content in your own language, Facebook does a superb job translating it. Some countries they don't have translation for, but they translate it so it appears like you're reading the content in your language. And the difference is the picture, they can't translate the pictures and the videos. So in Follow Jesus Christ, we do a really good job with the English-speaking countries because it's in English, our pictures are in English. But if you want to target Portuguese or Spanish or different ones, and we actually have ministers that focus on that, make sure your pictures and videos are in different language, and that will focus more on non-English speaking regions. But in our group, I'd say the main body of group, unless you specifically say you're targeting a different country, is going to come from Africa, Philippines, all these other English-speaking, Europe, English-speaking countries. I would say millennials and Generation X, they're the ones who participate a lot in them, although you're going to get people from all over the different age groups participating. You also see that the membership is really high in these groups. We have, I'd say, 70% active members out of our 350,000 people. They come and participate, and it just keeps growing. Very similar. Unlike many churches where people join and leave, in Facebook, as people spend more time, this is like their outlet of interaction with people and their outlet of reading. And so engagement is really high. So when we post, it reaches a lot of people, and comments and interactions are in the tens to 20,000s. I mean, they're in the, I think we've gotten 40, 50,000 at times, above and beyond that, where people react. So very active. So these groups are highly active, posts and comments, you're going to be able to interact with people all over the world. Your posts will get read. So picking the right group and engaging in them and letting the Facebook algorithm work for you will let you share the gospel with so many people and build your friend network really high. Best time to post, what we found from looking at the data here is you're going to get Sunday's a really good day, a Monday, Saturday. Those are like perfect days to post. And in a global group, because you're posting to people all over the world, it seems like the morning time, you're catch more, people the best. So if you can post in the morning before 10 a.m., you're going to hit the best posting time. And then from there, you're going to, if you could focus on, it goes into the evening, you get highs again. But if you click like during the daytime, it's okay. I mean, you're going to do well across any time, but I'd say anywhere before 10 a.m. and then in the evening time is when you're going to get a peak of people looking at your posts. Because when you go global, you got to think about, I'm not only making a post to people in my country, but it's going to go around all around the world, and you'll get to engage with people all around the world. So you want to post and engage at these peak times. And so this gives you an open opportunity to search Facebook, decide what groups you want to join. I'd say at most pick 6. Realize that you're talking to people all over the world, and pick times for your posts and times to engage that are beneficial to people all over the world. So your night might be their early morning, and that gives you an opportunity to post and hit many. But it's such a rewarding experience, because if you run out of people, your friends to talk to, if you run out of your neighbors to interact with, these local groups, they just want to follow Jesus Christ, and they're dying to do that. And you're going to be able to make friends easily. You just won't run out of people, because this is growing. The sharing the gospel online is just growing, and it's growing super fast. You saw that. We went in a year to 350,000 people wanting to know more about Christ, and that's just happening everywhere. So this is how you share the global gospel globally. We're going to talk about in our next session is there are some rules on Facebook network and social networks and like on Facebook that if you don't obey, they're going to lock you out, and you need to be careful. And we're going to teach you that in our next session.